school fights. School fights are totally out of control once again. We have what? 5 weeks of school now? I think we got about 5 weeks, so let's say 25 days. In those 25 days, we have over 22 registered fights. Registered. How much unregistered? Only God knows. But it means it's nearly a fight a day. At the schools, it's nearly a fight a day. And we have to start discussing a little more seriously how we're going to handle this and what sort of corrective procedures and punishments needs to be meted out. You have to understand that a lot of these youngsters have parents. And it's easy to say hold the parents accountable. Some of these youngsters are as disrespectful as they come. You see, youngsters have no respect for authority. And there's a lot of gang movement. When you see some of these videos, a lot of people don't pay attention with the people around the fight. Check bandanas that they wear. Check the way they give signals. And when the fight starts, how that goes. Community service is a punishment that is given sometimes before you take them to courts and they get a record. You give them community service. Prosecutors do that. But as long as we don't take these children out of the environment they're in, not much will change. It will only escalate upwards. It will only get worse. You have to think about anger management also, group therapies. But teachers are scared of students because students do them bodily harm also. And the question you have to then ask yourself is, okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to have a long-term plan, or what about a short-term plan? I have spoken about a short-term plan on numerous occasions. From the start of this governmental term, I spoke of a boot camp. The VKS and the Dutch Marines are on this island. We can build a nice camp, a boot camp, or kazerne, whatever you want to call it, where youngsters that are problematic within society can spend some time there, where they will get behavioral therapy, they'll be educated, so they won't fall behind. You see, locking up a child, because they're children, all they do is learn how to become worse. Because there's no rehabilitation really going on in prison. The prison isn't equipped to do that good. So the youngsters go up there, or they go Miss Lally Center, and what happens then? 6 months later, 2 years later, we leave them, go with what? Without a trade, without anything. And we expect them to survive? They will survive here, but they're going to survive on the way of the streets, not the way society would want them to. We need to look at this from a different perspective. And oh, we're going to build new schools elsewhere? That's long term. We can't even rebuild what we had to rebuild that got damaged with Irma. I mean, go by the region. The school's still in there. Go Colby on the main road. School's still in there. Go in Dutch Quarter. Problems with the schools. So please, let's get real. Building schools, equipping them with teachers is a good thing. But it's not the solution right now. Right now, we're going to have to deal with the youngsters a little different. While I agree that we can give them community service because there's enough environmental work that they can help with the cleanup, but they also need to be taught moral values. Seemingly at home, that ain't happening good enough. And we can say, okay, we're going to arrest the parent and hold the parent liable for the child's behavior. And what do you think that's going to do? So you're locking up the father now or the mother. So who can provide for the home? It's not as easy as we think it is. This is a very complex situation. And we can't just brush it off as if Children are children. And then you have parents that tell you, if a teacher do my child, what he gonna do to teacher? I mean, are we serious? This is why children behave so, When children see others doing something and there's no punishment for it, then it is the norm. That's the way to do it. How many men hit women? So young boys see the father put some slaps on the mother, some bucks on the mother, and the mother still hugs him up and kisses him. So the son says, what? Okay, you gotta hit him sometimes for them to love you. You see where I'm going with this? This is unfortunately the way things happen. When you listen to social media, when you listen to the songs in the music sometimes, nothing against the music. I don't mind like the beats, but there's no need to downgrade a woman in the song. And then those same women are throwing down themselves and fainting on the floor. We have lost all social grip and moral value grips on our kids. And they behave out there, they fight out there like animals. And then we say, oh man, there's the young children there, but they're just expressing their frustration and anger. No, they are not. Because if you give them a chance, they'll kill the other one. Because the instinct of survival is in there right now. That's where a young child that's being bullied goes to school with a knife or a gun and shoots a person. Because they see no other way anymore. This is what's really happening to us. We have to wake up. We have to deal with school fights different. And we have tried many ways. They have not worked. So why can't we try a boot camp? Use the VKS. Ask the Dutch Marines to assist us. Some of them can teach the children to read and write Dutch. Physical education. A skill of carpentry, mechanics, because they are here down there, they have skills too. We can do that. We ask for working relationships with each other. We do it with border control. We got them in the police. We got them in the Coast Guard. Why can't we have them in a boot camp? Aruba and Curacao got boot camps. Why can't we? I'm not telling you that's the solution. But most of the youngsters that went into the army when they were young turned out reasonably well as they got older. Not all, but most. And that's what we need. We need a change of direction. And hopefully, if we do that, I believe a lot of young men and women that are now on the wrong path can be brought back on the right path. I honestly believe so. Community councils, churches, neighborhoods, they all have a role to play. All of us have a role to play. This is not a police job to go fix school fights. It's not theirs. It's not the school to babysit your child and teach your child manners. That's your job as a parent. And telling me you have to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, I can understand. But when I see your son walking around with a 200 pair Jordan sneakers and you gave it to him, then I ask you, where are your priorities?